Not on my ball today. As you can see, I'm not bouncing up and down. But um, I just got this thing about misquoting. More of a curious thing that I've thought about in the recent days, years for a while. Particularly to do with media and all that, how they like to misquote, take things out of context, or paraphrase a lot of things to mean things that are completely taken out of context for whatever ends. I don't know, don't care. But it did have me interested and thinking about misquotes. Um, some of the more common things are like blood is thicker than water. Don't cry fire in a crowded theatre, and great minds think alike. There's a whole lot of other things, but the actual correct phrases, when they're said completely, can sometimes completely change, or most often completely change, what it is, the intent. Like the speaker has an intent of using a cut down phrase or misquoting the phrase because they want to put forward their point, but their point actually, when you look at the whole phrase, is the complete opposite of what they're um, what they're intending. So the whole great minds think alike, but the whole complete phrase is actually great minds think alike, though fools seldom differ. So alike is not the same as the same, or exactly the same. So if you get a whole lot of people who think completely alike, you're going, well, is there much difference? Is there no difference at all? Or is the difference really sort of so small that it may as well all be the same? In which case, are they fools? They're not great minds, because great minds can think alike, but they have a lot of differences which they can go, okay, these things are like, these things are different. We agree to disagree, kind of thing. Um, the other one is blood is thicker than water. And a lot of people I see quote this saying, oh, blood is thicker than water and all sorts of other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but have you actually read the whole of the phrase? It's basically the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And a lot of that came about with people who've gone through and spilled a lot of blood together in hard times, blood, sweat, and tears, and all that sort of stuff. And that bond that they have, um, I'm not sure if obligation is the word, but the bond that they actually have can be a lot thicker than, actual genetic blood relatives. And that's where people come across when they go, blood is thicker than water. Going, you haven't really read the whole quote, or don't know the whole phrase there, do you? Um, one of one of the other ones is basically don't cry fire in a crowded theatre. And I got this from, I think, the book they listed there about, trigger warnings. I like listening to a lot of different books on different things just to get a bead on, where things are at the moment and trends and all that, and look at things and go, is that really a thing, or is that just a passing thing, or is that like a solid thing that keeps going through? And it's actually don't falsely cry fire in a crowded theatre, which means, don't unnecessarily set panic in where panic is not due, because undoubtedly people will panic and they get all crazy and people get hurt and whatnot. And I see a lot of that these days. A lot of people falsely crying fire in a crowded theatre. Um, but it happens. And I don't know if people actually really know that they are falsely crying fire in a crowded theatre, because their viewpoints are really so narrow, and a lot of people are dismissive of other sources of information, as because even though there's things such as fake news and stuff like that, I still read it and weigh the arguments and the facts as they see it, and think, well, so this is what they say and this is what these guys say. Is it really just two sides of the same coin? Basically the same situation, just different viewpoints of what's happening. How much emotion is going into it? What are the actual facts brought down to it? It's not a case of feelings, I guess, but more of a case of, would any reasonable person who knew nothing about this, who had no skin in the game, so to speak, who, basically is your peer in all intents and purposes. I don't care so much as, his skin color and all that sort of stuff, but anyone, if you can get a whole lot of people looking at it and they all come to the same conclusion without any influence, without saying, oh, because of this and all that, and that's the reason, will they come to the same conclusion? It's the same as when you have a problem and you get a whole lot of different people working on it, and they all come up with different solutions, or they come up with the same solution but different ways of going about the solution, and you talk about the best way to go about the solution. It's never always just the one thing. Sometimes it can be a part of one person's solution, a part of another person's solution to get to the cause. Now, if everyone agrees on the cause of it, or the result or the solution, but they have different ways of doing it, then, that's the thing. But if all these people agree that this one solution or issue or problem is the same, despite the fact that they come from vastly different, occupations, knowledge, skills, whatever, then you've got to look at it and go, hey, no, that's the thing, rather than actually just reconfirming what you have by going to people that who think like you. Again, the whole great minds think alike and fools seldom differ. It's like, are you being made a fool? Either you're fooling yourself or someone's making a fool out of you, and to what purpose? And sometimes it could just be as simple as clicking likes, gratuity and money. That's the whole thing. I don't know. I suppose that leads me to the whole money is the root of all evil, but it's actually for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. But these days I think it's also the love of fame, popularity, of wanting to belong to a bigger, better audience. People feel, I guess, not as relevant, but that's the thing. Are you relevant to the people that you care about? Is the relevancy all just about likes and loves on social media, or the 5 seconds of praise or sympathy that you get from it? So anyway, that's my thing for today. So I'm curious, what phrases have you heard lots of, and what things have you seen quoted lots of, like examples and that? Like these days I've been saying, oh, that's so 1984, like, oh, George Orwell, that's so Orwellian. But a lot of people don't know about George Orwell. They've not read much more of his literature than 1984 or The Animal Farm. They've not read a lot of his other things like The Road to Wigan Pier, and a lot of his actual essays on media and manipulations and everything like that. I mean, I would encourage you to read it. I find it difficult to read, but again, it's something where I'd like read a paragraph and go, my god, my mind's blown. I need some time to absorb this. But yeah, what are phrases that you've heard a lot of lately? Have they been correctly quoted? Like, do you know for sure? Just Google it or DuckDuckGo it. If it's been misquoted, if a couple of words are missing or phrases or the rest of it's missing, have you taken that into consideration and thought about, okay, now, is the quote that they're using, does that match with what the message they're trying to get across, or is it completely not matching? And if it's not matching, do they even know that what they're saying is not matching what they want to get across, or not? Anyway, that's it for me for today. Have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Keep calm. Wear rubber. See you guys.